This story is a fictionalized account inspired by real events. Nothing about that morning felt different. Nothing warned me that it would be the last normal moment of my life. I remember the street because it was loud with morning. Shoes on pavement, someone laughing behind me, cars passing like they always did. I was 11 years old, and I was wearing pink. I remember that because it was my favorite color, and because it made me easy to see. I was thinking about ordinary things. School, the day ahead, small worries that don't matter once something bigger replaces them. I did not notice the car at first. I thought the man inside was going to ask for directions. The window came down, and everything after that happened faster than my brain could follow. I did not scream. I did not fight. I did not understand what was happening until it was already over. I remember drifting in and out of consciousness. I remember a blanket. I remember thinking about my parents and saying that they couldn't afford a ransom. I did not know then that someone had seen me taken, that my stepfather had chased the car on a bicycle, that my classmates had watched it happen in broad daylight. By the time I understood I wasn't going home, the world had already moved on without me. The place I was taken to wasn't remote. That's the part people don't like to hear. There were houses nearby, neighbors, lawns, radios playing during the day. I lived behind a house, in structures that weren't meant for people, sheds, tents, spaces that were easy not to look at. I learned early not to make noise. I learned to listen for footsteps, to measure days by light through cracks in the walls. I also learned that people came close. Law enforcement came to that property more than once. They spoke to him at the front of the house. They didn't look behind it. They didn't see me. Once, someone saw a girl staring at a missing poster of herself at a gas station less than 2 miles away. Police arrived after she was gone. They didn't follow up. Years later, a neighbor called 911 and said there were tents in the backyard, said children were living there, said the man was unstable. A deputy talked to him for half an hour at the front door and left. I stayed. I grew up there. My body changed in a place where time wasn't supposed to move forward. I became a teenager, then a woman. I gave birth there. Holding my children, I understood something I didn't before, that survival sometimes looks like cooperation from the outside, that staying alive can be mistaken for consent by people who were never trapped. There were more visits, more chances. A parole agent once saw a young girl on the property and accepted an explanation that wasn't true. No one checked. By the time I was finally seen again, it wasn't because someone finally searched hard enough. It was because something didn't fit. He took my daughters into public. Someone noticed how pale they were, how quiet, how wrong the situation felt. That discomfort traveled through the right chain of people for once. When I was brought into an office and asked who I was, I lied. Not because I wanted to protect him, but because I was afraid of losing my children. I had learned what happened when adults decided things for me. The truth came out anyway. Afterward, people wanted details. They wanted testimony. They wanted closure. What I wanted was accountability. The man who took me was known, registered, supervised, passed between agencies like a file. So I sued. The state admitted failure and paid. The federal government said there was no way to anticipate I would become his victim. I had lived behind that house for 18 years. That sentence told me everything I needed to know. I didn't give them every part of my story. I wasn't going to spend what was left of my life explaining what should have been stopped. Being found doesn't erase what was missed. It just proves how long it took to look. I'll keep telling these stories. If you want to stay with me, you know where the subscribe button is.